Jai Hind to all. Myself Shikha Agarwal, Assistant Professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So students, today we are going to talk about the introduction of computer networks. This lecture is being dedicated for the CSIT students or the electronic students also can, because in this lecture we are going to discuss about the brief introduction about computer networks, right? So first of all, when we talk about the computer networks, before that we should be aware about the one term which is called as a DC, data communication. It comprises of two words, data and communication. We can say data can be in any form. It can be an image, it can be audio, it can be videos, text file and so on. So there we are having a varieties of datas that needs to be communicated from one source to the destination, or we can say when the two devices are connected with each other, they needs to exchange a certain amount of data between the two devices, then we can say it is called communication. When we talk about the connectivity between the two devices, into that case there can be in any type of a medium, whether it is a wired medium or wireless medium. So we can say we are talking about the data communication. Like we are all using the telecommunications, right? Tele means we are comprising again of two words, tele and communication. When I'm using the word tele means anything which is related like a teleconferencing, telephonic call and so on. So through which we can do a communication, like we are making an exchanging of certain data by using the telephonic conversation, then we can say it is a telecommunication. And second thing, why we are using the word tele, it also means a far. Far matlab we are talking about the communication when we are at the distance. So this is the way how the data communication works. Fine. When we talk about the data communication, there are the fundamental communication characteristics which is being very useful to talk about the data communication. As we all know, in the previous methodology, we are already talking about the postcard system. Someone wants to send the information to the other person. So into that case, whatever happens, it's like they are writing the data onto the, or they are writing the message onto the postcard, then go to this post office and submitted it, writing a source address and destination address of both. Then after that it is being delivered to the correct location. So somewhere we can say this is a basic method from where the DCN comes. So into that case, but there is not a surety for the 100% delivery on time. We can say the data can be modified in between. It may take a lot of amount of time and so on. So on to basis of that, this is a fundamental process which we used when we talk about the computer networks. From the manual system, we are moving towards the computer networks. So there are the various characteristics about the DCN. The first characteristic is delivery. As in the manual system, whatever the data is being delivered, it may or may not be delivered to the correct destination, or it may take a certain amount of time. So in this case, when we talk about the delivery, the system must deliver the data to the correct destination. Whatever the data must be generated, that is being received only by the intended user, desired user, right? And that is being delivered only by that device or the user. Second thing, we are going to talk about accuracy. As we know that the data can be stolen, or it can be uncorrected, or it can be altered by the third party. So into that case, whatever the system delivers the data, it should be delivered in an accurate manner. Whatever the way it is generated, it is being delivered in the similar manner. The third, we are going to talk about the timelines. Timelines basically works in the case of audio and video signals, because if the data is being delivered after the time out of that particular event, it is useless. So basically by using the DCN, we can deliver the data in a timely manner and without wasting our time. The delivery time or the late time is being useless. Generally, when we talk about the concept of audio and video files, if we are getting the audio file in a pause manner, right, or it is being altered, or it is not received in the same order as they are produced, so there is a very much delay occurs, due to which the file is not giving a exact information, due to which we are working about the timelines. So in this case, we are talking about the timelines in which we are giving the delivery, that is called as a real-time transmission. The next we are going to talk about a jitter. Basically, jitter means there is a variation in the packet arrival time. Whatever the packet, whatever the data we are tying, it refers to the jitter, right? So when we talk about jitter basically is an uneven delay happens when we are delivering the audio and the video files. We can say, suppose let's talk about a movie. So in the case of movie, if the whole screen is not visible with the continuous motion, then we don't like that movie. So if there is a delay into that file, then we can say it is called as a jitter time. So in this case, we are talking about if there is a variation for 30 seconds or microseconds into that delay, so each and every packet is being delivered into that sequence so that we can maintain the data. Now, after that, we are going to discuss about the basic components of computer networks. When we talk about the basic components of the computer networks, there are the 5 basic components. Before that, we'll discuss about the architecture. Suppose there is a sender, the one who sends the data, and there is a receiver who wants to receive the data. Before that, they wants to do a communication between the sender and the receiver. So we can say sender is the one component, the one who sends the data. Receiver is a second component who wants to receive that data. Fine. After that, we always use a one type of medium. This is a third component which can be a wired medium or wireless medium. The next is message, means data. Whatever the data we wants to travel between the sender and the receiver, that is a one basic component. And the last one is protocol. When we talk about the fifth component, it is a protocol. Basically, protocol means an agreement. Agreement means they both are connected with each other so that they can do the communication. They can exchange the information. So basically, these are the 5 components. The first is a message. Message means it can be an information, can be data that is being communicated between the 2 connecting devices. Basically, this type of an information can be in the form of text, audio, video, and so on. Sender, the one who sends the data. They can use any type of device like a workstation, it can be a telephone handset, it can be a video camera, and so on. The next is receiver, the one who receives the data. The next is transmission medium. As I've already told you, transmission medium is a device through which, or you can say it is a physical path through which the data is being traveled between the sender and the receiver and vice versa. It can be of 2 types, wired or wireless. Then we are talking about the protocol. Protocol is basically a set of rules that is being governed by the data communication. It represents basically an agreement between the 2 communicating devices. When the sender and receiver are connected with each other, they need to communicate, then they are using a agreement. Into that agreement that they have to sign the protocol. Now after that, when we talk about the data, data can be represented in these 4 ways. Either it is a text. When it is a text, it can be in a bit pattern, like the combination of zeros and ones. How we need to convert the text? We have to use the ASCII codes, right? And after that, ASCII codes is being converted into the bit patterns. The next, we are representing the data in the form of numbers. Numbers again, that is a digit. The numbers are in digits, so we need to convert it into binary, right? Then after that, we are having an audio files. That is a broadcasting, recording of a broadcasting of a sound or a music. The next is videos. It can be a continuous motion of images or a pictures so that we can do the smooth conduction of movie. As we know, whenever we are talking about the data, so into that case, we know how the data flow, how the data travels. So into that case, we are going to talk about the 3 transmission modes. The first is simplex mode, half duplex mode, and full duplex mode. When I'm talking about the simplex mode, basically this is called as a one-way communication. When I'm using the word one-way communication, it means the sender is only one who sends the data and the receiver is one who always receives the data, always receives an information. There is no acknowledgement is being sent, no judgment is being given on to that, no suggestions is being given on. So basically it is a one-way communication that is called as a simplex. I can give you an example of simplex is a TV broadcasting. Whatever the TV cable providers, we always used to watch that part. So it is an example of simplex mode. The second, we are going to talk about the full half duplex mode. When I'm talking about the half duplex, duplex means both the communication, both the ways. The communication between two stations, but when I'm using the word half, it means that at a particular time, the data of a direction is being traveled on one side at a time. For example is walkie-talkie. In which the communication is being done on both the sides, but at a particular amount of time from one direction. The next is full duplex mode. Full duplex means the data is being continuously moving in both the directions and vice versa. The common example is like you can talk about that whenever we are doing a telephonic conversation with our friends. This is like we both have a right to deliver the data in the same time. The next we are going to talk about the networks. How the network is being generated. When I'm using the word networks means we are having a set of devices or the nodes which is being connected through the communication link. When I'm using the word node can be anything. It can be your laptop, it can be your desktop, it can be a printer, it can be a modem or any type of a device which is being capable of sending and receiving the data by generating by the other system or the node onto the network. For example, when we are compiling our whole system like a laptop, mouse, keyboards and your printer, modem, this is also one type of a network. When I'm talking about the network, we should always know what do you mean by the term distributed processing. Distributed processing is when the particular task amongst the network is being divided among the multiple computers. Instead of providing the whole responsibility to a single large machine, we are dividing the responsibilities of a different processes separately onto their personal computers or to the workstations. Then we can say we are talking about the distributed processing. When we talk about the network criteria, basically when I'm using the word network criteria means whatever the network, whatever the set of devices, communication link we are generating, how they communicate with each other, what is the important parameters that is required to exchange the data to do the communication while transferring it. So the important parameters is like performance, its reliability and security. So these are the three parameters. Onto the basis of that, we talk that how the network works. First, we are going to talk about performance. When I'm talking about performance means kaise kaam karega, sort of. So we can say basically the network performance can be judged with the two parameters. First is transient time and response time. When I'm talking about the transient time, basically it is the total amount of time required for a message to travel from the one node to the another node. How the message is being traveled between the two nodes. Then we are talking about the transient time. Second is whenever the response time talks about, it is basically an elapsed time between the inquirer and the response. Suppose if I send a message to someone, Jana, and then coming back to a response, then it is called as a response time. Basically, there are the various number of factors depending upon how the network performance is, how many number of users are there, which type of a transmission medium I am using, whatever the systems are being connected with each other, is how its efficiency of the softwares, how the each and every network is being connected. So there are the various other parameters also when we talk about the concept of performance. After that, we are going to talk about reliability. Reliability, when as we have already discussed, there is an accuracy of delivery, right? So network reliability says कि whenever we exchange or whenever we communicate with each other, how many times the frequency or the failure occurs, how much time is required to recover from the failure, how the network is working when a natural disasters occur. So this is we are talking about reliability. The next we are going to talk about security. Security includes like protecting your data from the access of the third party. If we are protecting our data from the damage or the development policies, procedures, how the data is being lost. So these all are basis. How the data breaches, we can recover our data from the data breaches. So these all are the things when we talk about security. Fine. So after that, we know when we talk about the types of connections, there are the two types of connections. Either we are talking about a point to point or a one to one communication. This is called as a point to point connection. The second, we are going to talk about a multi-point connection. Suppose there is a one big server, they are connected with the n number of stations. Like this is a mainframe and it is being connected with the n number of devices. Then we are talking about a multi-point connection. Now, this is all about the brief introduction about computer networks, right? So now we are going to start about what all are the topologies or how the physical network is being laid down so that we can exchange the data easily. So that term is called as a topology. When I'm using the word physical topology refers to the way in which the network is laid down physically. How the two or more devices being connecting with each other. When we say whenever the two or more devices are connected, it creates a link. But when the two or more links is being connected, then we can say it is a topology. So the core definition of topology of a network is a geometric representation of the relationship of all the links and the linking devices or like with the nodes onto one another. Then we are creating a representation of a network that is called as a topology. When we talk about the topology, there are the four types of topologies, and by combining all these four topologies, we can also create a fifth type of topology which is called as a hybrid topology. So first of all, we are going to talk about a mesh topology. Mesh topology means it is a fully connected topology. Each and every station is being connected with one another, right? You can see the cables. Suppose this is station 1. It is being connected with all the nodes, right? So when we are connecting each and every station with one another by using the cable connection, then it is called as a mesh topology. When we talk about the mesh topology, it is in which its property is a dedicated point-to-point link. Why I'm using the word dedicated? Because each and every connection is having a point-to-point, node-to-node link between each other. And when we talk about the dedicated, it means the whole entire capacity of that link is being used between only those two connecting devices. That is, we are talking about the mesh topology. There are the various advantages. Dedicated link guarantees, because we are talking about that individual cables for the network. Mesh topology is robust because it provides the better functionality, security and privacy. And the last is point-to-point fault identification and fault isolation. Whenever the fault occurs, we can easily identify it because each and every one is having a dedicated point-to-point. There are the certain disadvantages, like we require a more number of cables. Installation and reconnection is very difficult because each and every device is being need to be connected with each other. There is a bulky sharing of a greater number of available space. The wires, we will require more and more wires. So floor is being occupied by those n number of wires. Again, the hardware more is required. Generally, it is being used in a telephone regional areas. The next, we have a star topology. Star topology means there is a one central hub through which n number of stations is being connected to it, and this is called as a central controller, which creates each and every functionality onto the network. The whole data wants to transmit with the help of central controller. For example, a station wants to transmit the data to the station 2. First of all, that data is being transferred to the hub. It is the responsibility of hub to transmit the data to the node 2 and vice versa. Fine. Then we talk about the star topology. Star topology does not allow direct communication between the devices because here it works like a dedicated point-to-point network, but there is a controller who exchange the data between the two systems. As I have already given you, suppose station 1 wants to transmit the data to station 2. First, that data is being sent to the central controller and then transmit to the exact location. Advantages: it is less expensive, it is easy to install, it is robust and easy to fault identification and isolation. But there is a big disadvantage because there is a one single point where the whole system is being dependent. So onto that case, if the hub is failure, the whole system is dead. It is being used in a high-speed LANs areas where the central controllers is being working. The next we are going to talk about the bus topology. In the case of bus topology, it is having a bus-like architecture in which there is one entrance door, one is an exit door. So we can say there is a drop lines into which there are the n number of stations. So there is one long cable is working as a backbone, and all the nodes are connected into that cable by using the drop lines or the taps. When I'm talking about the drop line, basically it is a connection between the device and the main cable, and tap are those connectors that either split the main cable or punctures the sheath ring of the cable to create a contact with the metallic cores so that the signals can travel easily. So energy is transformed into the heat. When we talk about the bus topology, it is easy to install it when we are having a backbone cable. So that particular cable is laid down in an efficient path so that we can easily use the exchange of data, due to which we are using the less number of cables, like a star topology or mesh topology. There is no central controller because we have created a drop lines onto the network. So we just have a one single cable. There is a disadvantage because it is difficult to reconnection and fault isolation. If there is a fault comes into a one device, we have to discuss about the whole network. It is very difficult to add a new devices. There is a fault or a break in the cable systems and stops the transmission in the whole network. Example is Ethernet LANs. We can use the bus topology. The next we are having a ring topology. When we are talking about a ring topology, it is having a ring-like structure, and in the ring-like structure, each and every devices is being connected through the repeaters so that we can regenerate the signals if the ring is bigger. Second thing, each and every point or a device is having a dedicated point-to-point connection only with the two devices on either of the side, because we are connected with either a predecessor or the successor node, right? When we talk about the ring topology, it is easy to install and reconfigure. Each and every device is having its intermediate informations about it, intermediate neighbors, like before and after only. Second thing, we can easily add and delete the connections or the devices so that we can consider for the media and the traffic and so on. Fault isolation is simplified because if the signals are not moving from the next node, then we cannot easily identify where the fault is. Second, the big disadvantage is the data travels in unidirection, only in one direction at a time, because either we are generating in a clockwise or anti-clockwise during the hardware implementation. So generally it is being using again local area networks, token ring topologies. As I've already told you that when we combine all the four topologies, we can generate a complete network. Then we can say it is called as a hybrid topology. Hybrid can be combined of various like stations. It can create a structure by using the ring topology, mesh and so on. And when all the networks is being connected with each other, then we can create a hybrid topology. You can see here what we did, we have used a star bus backbone with the help of the three bus topologies. After that, now we are going to talk about the network models. When we talk about the computer networks, they are created by the different standards. They are created by the different entities. So we need to create a homogeneous or a heterogeneous networks in which the networks can be communicated with one another. So into that case, we are having a two best known architectures. The first is OSI model, which is a reference model when we talk about the computer networks. And the second, we are having an internet model, that through which we are talking about the TCP/IP model. When we talk about the network, there are the three categories. First is local area network. Basically, it is being used for us private networks in which it is being linked to a single office building or a campus, in which the organization can create their own network, in which they are simply connecting the two PCs, home office and so on. They can exchange the data. So here we are talking about the LAN. In the case of LAN, the data rates is being traveled with 4 to 16 Mbps speed. In the present situation, if we are talking about a LAN, so somewhere they have increased their maximally speed by the 100 or 1000 Mbps. This is the way how we can create a complete LAN. So then we are having a different offices into the buildings, departments. They all are connected with the central hub. Then we can create a LAN. The next is wide area network. When we are talking about the wide area network, it provides a long distance transmission of data of the various types into the comprising of various countries, continent and the whole world. The wide area network is a complex that connects the internet by connecting the lines either in a single internet or home computer to the internet or in a various ways. So we can talk about the ATM. This is the way how we can create a wide area networks. Suppose we are having various types of end systems. They all are creating a switched network by using the concept of switches, and then we can easily exchange the data. But इसी के comparison, if I am talking about a point to point WAN, suppose my single computer is being connected to the modem and it is being connected to the ISP's modem. So it means this is having a point to point communication. The next is metropolitan. Metropolitan area network basically is the size between the LAN and the WAN. It covers an area that is inside the town or a particular city. Then we can design a customers who needs the high speed connectivity, internet processes, head points, and in which they can spread over the city or a particular area. Then we are talking about a metropolitan, like we are talking about the examples of cable TV networks. As we know, we have talked about network of networks, that is like a LAN, MAN and WAN. So after that, creating a complete whole network, when various networks is being connected with each other, then we can say network of networks is called internet, or you can say internetworks. This is the way how you can create a complete internet network. There are the various LANs, WANs, point to point WAN. We are all being combining with the help of the routers or the switches or any connecting devices. Then we can create a whole network. Internet is basically a revolutionized in our aspects of day-to-day life, so that we can spend our leisure time. We can do our business with the homes also. So with the help of the internet, you can make our communication very easy and on the fingertips. This is the way how the ISPs is being divided. Suppose we are having a national ISP, it is being divided into the regional ISPs, then regional is divided into the area-wise ISPs and so on. How the internet is being established. After that, we are having a protocols and standards, because everything is to be done with the help of protocols. Protocols basically rules, and standard means those which we are agreed upon. When we talk about the protocol, but protocol means it is a set of rules that govern the data communication, right? The first is syntax. We know how to send the structure of that format of the data. That is called as a syntax, right? Like uske baad then we are having a semantics. Semantics means whatever the structure we have designed, which gives the useful meaning to that particular data or a pattern. Then we can say it is called semantics. And the third is timing. Timing means when the data should be sent or how fast the data can be traveled from the source to the destination machine. There are the certain standards. Some standards means we are upon which we are agree. How the competitive world can work. How the different organizations can connected. So the standards are of two types, de facto and de jure. De facto means by convention, which is being agreed upon the two private organizations. They establish their own rules and regulations and they are trying to follow it. But there are the certain de jure in which it is being legislated or officially recognized by the jury standards or the bodies. Standards are developed through the operations of standards like committees, agencies, forums, government agencies and so on. So we are having a different standards. There are the various standards like ISO is providing a one type of a standard. ITU-TI is an international telecommunication who provides the various standards. ANSI is American National Standard Institute, which gives the basic about the exchanging of data with the help of the US Federal. IEEE, which provides the standards for computing for the communication and for the computing. So this is all about the brief introduction about computer networks. Thank you.